10 most mysterious ancient discoveries on Earth that even top scientists still can't explain. There are secrets that have remained buried beneath the Earth for thousands of years. Yet even today, humanity still has no idea what they truly are. There are skeletal remains of two people holding hands for 700 years beneath an ancient chapel, as if they never wanted to be separated, even after death. There is a more than 1,000-year-old mummy in China that left doctors stunned after CT scans revealed that its brain and bones were still perfectly preserved beneath a layer of gold. There are ancient Egyptian books created not for the living, but to guide souls through the terrifying afterlife filled with demons and fearsome gods. And even more frightening, many of humanity's greatest archaeological discoveries were found completely by accident, beneath the basement of a house, at construction sites, or under layers of soil that people had walked across for hundreds of years without ever realizing what lay beneath them. What has troubled scientists for decades is not only what was discovered, but the unanswered questions hidden behind those discoveries. Hello, and welcome back to Ancient History. In today's video, we are about to begin a journey into 10 of the most mysterious ancient discoveries on Earth that even the world's top scientists cannot explain. From strange mummies that have remained perfectly preserved for thousands of years, to ancient tombs hiding secrets that have never been deciphered, to fossils of creatures that survived the most devastating mass extinction in Earth's history, all of these discoveries are forcing modern humanity to question what we truly know about the past. There were civilizations that vanished without leaving behind a single explanation. There were bizarre ancient rituals so strange that even modern science still cannot fully understand their true purpose. And there are discoveries that have led archaeologists to admit that the more they uncover, the more humanity's past feels like a mysterious labyrinth rather than ordinary history. So what has really been buried beneath the Earth for thousands of years? And could there be ancient secrets that humanity was never meant to know? Join me as we uncover the answers in today's video. Two bodies embracing in volcanic ash. DNA results, after 2,000 years, shocked everyone. There are stories that people instantly believe, not because they're proven, but because they feel logical, emotional, and perfectly aligned with what we want to believe. But history doesn't always follow human expectations. And the story of two bodies found embracing in Pompeii is a perfect example. It all began with a catastrophic event in 79 AD, when Mount Vesuvius erupted violently, burying the entire city of Pompeii under ash and lava. In a very short time, a layer of scorching material up to about 20 feet thick swept through the area, trapping residents where they stood and leaving them no chance to escape. Yet that same destruction also froze the final moments of human life. Nearly 2,000 years later, archaeologists excavating Pompeii discovered many bodies preserved in the exact positions they were in at the moment of death, as if time had stood still. Among these discoveries was one so famous that almost everyone has heard of it. Two bodies locked tightly in an embrace, found inside an ancient home known as the House of the Golden Bracelet during modern excavations. Beneath the volcanic ash, their forms were preserved almost perfectly, creating an image that is both haunting and deeply moving. They came to be known as the Two Maidens. From that name, a story began to take shape. Many believed this was a mother holding her child in their final moments, trying to protect them as death closed in. An instinctive embrace, without thought, only love and desperation. That story spread quickly. It appeared in books, inspired films, and became a symbol of human compassion in the face of disaster. But then modern science stepped in. In recent years, with advances in DNA analysis, scientists decided to re-examine the identities of these bodies. Even the smallest remaining samples were carefully collected and studied. And the results forced everyone to reconsider. Both individuals were male. Not only that, they were not related by blood in any way. This means the entire mother and child narrative accepted for centuries was actually just an interpretation based on appearances. The truth was completely different. So if they weren't mother and child, who were they? That question still has no definitive answer. However, scientists have proposed several possibilities. According to researcher Alyssa Mitnick from the Max Planck Institute, they may have been servants, slaves, or individuals living within the same wealthy household. In the chaos of the eruption, they may have turned to each other, not because of family ties, but out of fear. Sometimes, in the face of death, all a person needs is someone beside them. And what makes this story even more complex is that these two were not the only bodies found there. In the same house, archaeologists discovered 2 additional individuals, bringing the total to 4. At first, the presence of a golden bracelet on one of the bodies led many to believe they were a family, a mother, a child, and relatives. But once again, DNA told a different story. All 4 individuals were male, and none of them were related. This means they were simply people who happened to be in the same place when disaster struck. No family ties, no shared blood, yet they faced their final moments together. The investigation didn't stop there. Scientists continued analyzing the remains to learn more about their origins. The results suggest they may have been descendants of migrants from the eastern Mediterranean and parts of North Africa. Based on reconstructions, experts believe they likely had darker skin tones, black hair, and brown eyes, small details that help us better imagine the real people behind the ash. Today, research on Pompeii is still ongoing. Each DNA sample is a clue. Each discovery is another step forward. Some mysteries may never be fully solved, but at least some truths have come to light. And the story of the 2 maidens is one of them. A story that once moved the entire world, yet turned out to be very different from what we always believed. 900-year-old tomb in Sudan reveals 7 mysterious mummies and strange writings about heaven. In the barren lands along the Nile River in Sudan, there once stood an ancient city that served as the center of power for an entire medieval Christian kingdom. After centuries of wars, the collapse of dynasties, and hundreds of years buried beneath desert sands, the city gradually became a silent ruin in the middle of the wasteland. But no one could have imagined that deep beneath the ground of the ancient city of Old Dongola in Sudan, there existed a mysterious tomb hidden for nearly 900 years. A tomb containing mummies and strange ancient writings that have never been fully deciphered. The story began in 1993 when a Polish archaeological expedition led by Professor Stefan Jakobielski conducted excavations at Old Dongola, the former capital of the medieval kingdom of Makuria, located in the Nile region of present-day Sudan. Makuria was once a powerful Christian kingdom in Africa that flourished for many centuries. But in 1171 AD, after the Ayyubid dynasty gained control of Egypt, the northern region of Makuria was attacked, and the kingdom gradually disappeared into history. During the survey, archaeologists discovered traces of an ancient underground tomb. However, it was not until 2009 that an official excavation was finally carried out, and when the final layers of brick and stone were removed, the scene inside left archaeologists stunned. There were 7 mummies resting inside the tomb. According to Polish archaeologist Robert Mahler, all of the individuals buried there were older men over the age of 40. After the last person was placed inside, the entrance had been sealed shut with red bricks and mortar, almost completely isolating the chamber from the outside world for nearly an entire millennium. What made the discovery especially remarkable was that although the clothing on the mummies had deteriorated over time, experts determined that the burials were relatively simple, with the bodies mainly wrapped in linen cloth. But the true reason this excavation became famous throughout the archaeological world was not the mummies themselves. It was the writings covering the walls of the tomb. As researchers carefully cleaned away centuries of dust, rows of ancient inscriptions slowly appeared beneath the lights of the excavation site. The texts had been written in black ink over a thin white coating, using both Greek and Sahidic Coptic Egyptian, a language once used by ancient Christian communities in Egypt and Nubia. The walls contained passages from the Gospels of Luke, John, and Matthew, along with mysterious symbols and prayers dedicated to the Virgin Mary. Some of the writings even described how the Virgin Mary, after her death, was taken into heaven alongside Jesus Christ. All of these texts appeared to have been written by someone named Ioannis, because that signature was found repeatedly on the tomb walls. To this day, researchers still do not know exactly who Ioannis was. Was he a monk, a religious scribe, or perhaps the very person responsible for carrying out the burial rituals for those resting inside the tomb? And the deeper researchers investigated, the more mysterious the story became. One of the 7 mummies is believed to belong to Archbishop Georgios, one of the most powerful religious figures in the kingdom of Makuria at that time. Archaeologists discovered an inscription beside the mummy stating that he died in 1113 AD. If this theory is correct, then the old Dongola tomb was not simply an ordinary burial site, but may once have served as the resting place for the highest-ranking religious leaders of an entire ancient kingdom. What sends chills down many people's spines is the fact that for nearly 900 years, those mummies remained untouched in the darkness beneath the soil of Sudan, surrounded by ancient prayers written in languages that very few people today can still read. During the 2009 excavation, the mummies were removed for further study. The walls of the chamber were also completely cleaned, and every inscription was photographed and preserved for future translation and analysis. Even today, the research is still ongoing. Experts plan to publish all of the detailed findings about these mysterious writings in a future academic book. Until then, we can only wait and see what other secrets this ancient tomb may still reveal. 2,000-year-old tomb, filled with artifacts and human remains beneath the ground of Malta. Hey, have you ever wondered what would happen if one day, simply digging a drainage pipe accidentally uncovered an entire ancient world buried for 2,000 years? It sounds like a movie plot, right? But this actually happened in real life on the island of Malta, a country located in the Mediterranean Sea, already well known for its long history and unsolved mysteries. The story began recently when a drainage system expansion project was being carried out in Malta. At first, everything proceeded like any ordinary construction work. But then, while digging deeper into the ground, workers suddenly discovered a strange structure. That moment opened the door to a 2,000-year-old ancient tomb. When archaeologists quickly arrived at the site and began excavation, they were completely astonished by what they saw. Inside the tomb was a space filled with large and small jars, packed tightly together as if they had been resting there for millennia, waiting to be discovered. What makes this even more remarkable is that these jars were not just decorative objects. Many of them contained cremated human remains. These remains were identified as belonging to both adults and children, suggesting that this was not a simple burial site, but possibly an ancient family or community cemetery. Just imagining the atmosphere inside the tomb is enough to send chills down your spine, because each jar was not only a container, but also a vessel holding the memories of people who lived 2,000 years ago. As researchers continued their analysis, they discovered even more fascinating details. The burial goods inside the tomb were extremely diverse, ranging from everyday items to objects with spiritual significance. The most notable among them were amphorae, large ceramic vessels with a wide body, narrow neck, and two characteristic handles commonly found across many ancient Mediterranean civilizations. In addition, the ancient people also carefully placed finely crafted perfume bottles inside the tomb, along with various objects believed to be intended for use in the afterlife. These details reveal the strong belief of people at that time in life after death, that death was not an end, but rather a transition to another journey. With a history of around 2,000 years, all the artifacts discovered in this tomb are now considered an invaluable archaeological treasure. Each object is not only material evidence, but also a piece of the puzzle that helps us better understand the daily life, beliefs, and culture of an ancient civilization. The owners of this tomb were none other than the Punic people, a civilization that once flourished in the Mediterranean region. According to records from the Malta Historical Society, several Punic tombs had already been discovered in the area, providing valuable insight into this distinctive culture. The Punic people were not a single unified nation, but rather a network of independent city-states. They were well known for their maritime trade, glass-blowing techniques that produced exceptionally clear and refined glassware, and highly advanced pottery craftsmanship. Because of this, the artifacts found in this tomb further strengthen our understanding of a once prosperous civilization that remains relatively unknown today. Currently, all excavated artifacts have been transported to laboratories for further analysis. Scientists hope that through deeper research, they will be able to uncover more mysteries about the life, death, and beliefs of people who lived 2,000 years ago. As you can see, from something as ordinary as a drainage construction project, people accidentally came into contact with an entire world that had been asleep for millennia. Fascinating, isn't it? The 1,000-year-old living Buddha statue in China that shocked the world. Hidden deep inside an ancient temple in China lies a secret that left even modern scientists stunned when the truth was finally revealed. That temple is Dinghui Temple in Wuhan, Hebei Province. For many years, Both locals and visitors who entered the temple believed that the object being worshipped inside was simply a finely gilded statue of a monk, like many other Buddha statues. However, few could have imagined that beneath the golden surface there was not wood, stone, or cast metal, but the actual remains of a high-ranking monk who had passed away more than 1,000 years ago. This shocking discovery was only revealed in 2017 when scientists decided to conduct a special examination of this mysterious statue. They performed a CT scan, and the moment the results appeared on the screen, everyone present was left nearly speechless. Inside the statue was, in fact, the perfectly preserved mummy of an ancient monk. According to surviving historical records, the monk's name was Xian, originally from India. Between the 10th and 12th centuries, he traveled an extraordinary distance to the Khitan Kingdom, an ancient territory that once existed in what is now northern China, in order to spread Buddhism. He was not an ordinary monk. Xian was considered a highly respected scholar who translated 10 major Buddhist scriptures into Chinese. Because of his extraordinary contributions, he was appointed as state preceptor by the emperor, an extremely prestigious title reserved for individuals with major religious and intellectual influence. After his death, his body was carefully preserved by his disciples as a sacred relic. However, over centuries of historical turmoil, the mummy of this revered monk eventually disappeared from records. It was not until the 1970s that a surprising discovery brought Xian's story back to light. Inside an ancient cave in China, a monk's mummy was accidentally found in an almost perfectly preserved condition. After verification, experts concluded that it was very likely the lost remains of state preceptor Xian. The mummy was later moved to Dinghui Temple for worship in 2011. And in 2016, to show deep respect for the revered monk, the temple applied a layer of gold over the remains, making it look exactly like an exquisitely crafted ancient Buddha statue. But the most shocking revelation was still to come. On July 8, 2017, in the presence of media and the public, scientists conducted a full CT scan of the statue to examine its internal structure. The atmosphere was described as tense and filled with curiosity, as no one knew what remained inside after more than a millennium. And then the CT images appeared, leaving the entire room in shock. Doctors confirmed that beneath the golden layer, Xian's skeleton remained almost completely intact. Even more astonishingly, a fully preserved brain was still present inside the skull, an extremely rare condition for a body over 1,000 years old. Dr. Wu Yongqing, who directly participated in the examination, stated that the state of preservation exceeded all expectations. According to him, the monk's bones were still as clear and strong as those of a person who had only recently passed away. From the jawbone, teeth, ribs, spine to the joints, everything remained unbelievably intact. This immediately caused a major shockwave in the international scientific community, because for a body to remain so well preserved for over 1,000 years without significant decay is almost impossible. Some experts even believe this may be clear evidence of highly advanced preservation techniques used by ancient Buddhist monks. Ancient underground city in Turkey could hold 70,000 people, lying hidden for 1,900 years. Do you think underground worlds exist only in science fiction? Think again. Right beneath the peaceful town of Midyat in Mardin Province, Turkey, lies a massive hidden city, so vast that archaeologists believe it could become the largest underground city in the world once fully excavated. And even more astonishing, so far, they've only uncovered about 3% of its total area. Yes, just 3%, and it's already enough to astound the scientific community. It all began with an incredibly accidental discovery. While clearing out an old cave in Midyat, a team of workers stumbled upon a small passage. The deeper they dug, the more rooms, tunnels, and hidden corridors emerged from the darkness. From that moment, a vast underground labyrinth slowly revealed itself, something humanity had unknowingly been standing over for nearly 2 millennia. This city has been named Midyat, a land deeply connected to the rich history, religion, and culture of Mardin. To date, archaeologists have uncovered at least 49 rooms, including places of worship, wells, storage areas, and countless ancient artifacts. But what shocked them the most was evidence showing that this city had been in continuous use for 1,900 years, making it a true underground kingdom. According to Gani Tarkan, Director of the Mardin Museum and head of the excavation team, Mummified was likely originally built as a refuge. In the 2nd century, Christianity was not yet an official religion. Families and groups of believers often needed secret places to hide from Roman persecution, and spaces like Mummified offered them safe shelter. At its peak, archaeologists estimate that the city could have housed 60,000 to 70,000 people, a staggering number compared to any other underground structure ever recorded. You know, Turkey is no stranger to cave systems, but the scale of Mummified truly defies expectations. Previously, Derinkuyu in Cappadocia was considered the most complex underground city, with 8 floors reaching 262 feet deep, including ventilation shafts, tombs, living quarters, and stone doors weighing nearly 1,000 pounds that could only be opened from the inside. Yet according to Gani Tarkan, all of these earlier constructions might pale in comparison once Mummified is fully excavated. He emphasized, "When this city is fully revealed, it will become a globally significant site, a unique underground city in the history of humanity." Imagine it, a colossal living space hidden beneath the earth for nearly 2,000 years, with intricate tunnels, secret living quarters, and traces of ancient religious activity, all waiting to be uncovered, piece by piece. Isn't that absolutely fascinating?